This video is the end. It's the final video in which I attempt to spin the straws of Nephisto's character into the comedic gold that you all deserve. And every time I sit down to record this video and I think I've spun the final straw of this incredibly intricate tale, a new bale of hay gets delivered on my doorstep and I cannot help myself but to dive right in. To borrow a metaphor from Moist Critical, there's just been so much drama this week, I felt like I'm Pac-Man, gobbling up an endless amount of drama pellets, and your support was like the power-up that lets me chow down on the 4 ghosts. The blue, pink, and orange ghosts representing the 4 personalities, by the way, of Nephisto. In Pac-Man, those ghosts are named Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde, but the protagonists of this story are actually Phantom, who I've never met, The Answer, who we're going to talk a little bit more about today, Nephisto, who's the person that left those insane messages in my Discord server, and the proper fraud Nephisto, who ultimately will never know who they are, but we all have to thank them. Because without this fake Nephisto, the real hero of this story, I never would have been led to this endless fountain of content. And I need to thank you, before I get far into this video, for your incredible outpouring of support in everywhere that you could deliver it. In my Discord server, in the comments, in the live stream that I held earlier today, where I was just minding my own business crafting, and there was a huge number of people that attended to talk about what's been going on with Nephisto. I don't think my Discord server, linked in the description down below, or you could just type it in as discord.gg/Chisgule, has ever had as much activity as it did over the last 24 hours, and I've been doing this for over 3 years. I've read literally every single comment and every single message to me, and although I couldn't respond to all of them, I appreciate every single one of you throwing your support my way. It really meant a lot to me today. But as I said at the start of this video, the amount of drama and things going on is basically endless, and this is the end. The first thing I want to talk about is not actually Nephisto, but Baba. According to a video released on Baba's own YouTube channel, at the end of this year, he plans to quit Rise of Kingdoms. I couldn't believe it. The account will continue to be played. However, it will be his son that moves forward with the account, not him. Now, I plan to reach out to Baba to find out kind of what's going on, and I have to give a huge shout out to Baba for throwing his support my way in my live stream earlier today. He showed up freaking big, so thank you for your generosity, and I have appreciated your support all throughout the time that we've been playing Rise of Kingdoms together. If you want to see the full video of Baba sharing this news, I'll have a link down below in the description, but don't worry, I'll remind you of all of those links and other videos that you might want to check out at the end of this one. In fact, I have an entire playlist I've put together for the Nephisto Drama, so if there's anything you've missed in the whole series of videos, and I think this might be the 5th or 4th video I'm making about Nephisto, check out that playlist. I'll remind you about that later on. In this video, I'm going to try to not replicate all the stuff we've already talked about. There's really 2 things I wanted to accomplish about this final video about Nephisto. I wanted to show you my interview with The Answer at the time in which I thought he was the real Nephisto and he represented himself as the real Nephisto. And when I show you this conversation, you'll see why. And although I'm not a journalist, which I mentioned in my prior video, I'm going to try to maintain a shred of journalistic integrity by only sharing the portion of the conversation where it was clear we were doing an interview. After validating his identity by messaging me in-game from the Nephisto's account, we started to have this dialogue. And the first thing I asked is, would you be interested in being interviewed for my channel? They said, sure. I say, awesome. So out of curiosity, how much have you actually spent trying to figure out how much of my video was accurate or not? Now, this was because I had only just learned I had talked to the fraud Nephisto. The fraud Nephisto had said the account was around 100 grand in, but the real ish Nephisto, this variant of Nephisto, The Answer, said it was actually say it's confidently over $150,000. Keep in mind, this is as of 9/3, the start of September. I asked him how he discovered the game. He mentioned he'd played other Lilith games, and The Answer said, I heard about it from a friend. However, the other game that they had played extensively is called Art of Conquest. That's another Lilith game. That is the game, by the way, that Legend Ronnie used to play on his YouTube channel before switching to Rise of Kingdoms. I asked, how did you decide that you'd move all in to whale on Rise of Kingdoms? And he says he made some accounts first, 2336, 2777, then I wailed. On 2336, I honestly got bored and left. I bought some bundles there and stopped playing. And I say, so is it true that you aspire to be #1 by power and kills? He says, who doesn't aspire to be that? It's going to be a while till #1 on kills, but yes, #1 on power soon. And I say, haha, right on. So I guess the impersonator wasn't that far off, which is true. A shocking amount of the interview I did with the fake Nephisto reflected the actual Nephisto's intentions. So the next thing I say is, if you don't mind my asking, what kind of work do you do to support your in-game spending? And obviously you can decline to answer on this if you'd rather not say. And they say, I own a private equity fund. Got it. So if you had to guess, how much have you spent on mobile games in total? And the answer says on mobile games, maybe like 3 to 3.5 million, around that. In Art of Conquest, the wheels were unlimited, unlike in Rise of Kingdoms. And I ask, regarding your YouTube channel, because they have one of those, what inspired you to make the videos? And I will remind you that I verified this account not only based off of messaging me in game, because this is linked to the YouTube channel where they have been posting content that, I mean, you could only get the videos by actually playing the Nephisto's account, or someone playing it would have to send it to you. And the answer says, oh, I don't make those videos. We both use the YouTube account. Okay, got it. Man, that's too funny. So do you watch YouTube videos about Rise of Kingdoms or mostly just play? And the answer says, I just play, and sometimes I watch live streams like Radline, Fleisch, and you. And I say, would you be open to sharing screenshots of the commanders and equipment at some point, showcasing your account progression? And they say, okay. And I ask if there's anything else they'd like me to share in the video, and there isn't. They shared a bunch of pictures. I shared these pictures in my previous video about the Nephisto and his account and the civil war that was going on, so you've seen all this stuff already. The thing I just want to highlight is this earlier part of the conversation where they are answering many questions as though they are the Nephisto. So I don't know why the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde versions of Nephisto have completely different understandings about what was and was not said to me, but I will simply say you can see why I was very confused by the Nephisto's outrage when they entered into my Discord server and unloaded in a way that was just inappropriate. The person who I really feel bad for in all of this is the answer from Kingdom 1365, who has absolutely nothing to do with all of this drama that's been unfolding, but they have been messaged apparently so many times that they're debating changing their name, and that really sucks. Although it is pretty funny. And I suppose I should apologize because you really had no expectation that you'd get pinned down in this way. All these people come asking you, bro, is this you? What the heck's going on? When, like, you probably are just sitting there minding your own business. Now, I plan to put all of this drama behind me, and in fact, so does the Kingdom of 2831, where the civil warring has been taking place, where Nephisto has been rampaging and zeroing just about everybody. Here is the Kingdom mail stating the end of the civil war in 2831. Hello, friends. This mail is from the Woe leadership. That's one of the 4 main alliances in the Kingdom. To address and resolve the Civil War conflict, we are sad to say that we are leaving this kingdom at the end of KVK1. Though we do not speak for the members of the Alliance, they should choose their own. The Civil War cannot be allowed to continue. If the kingdom is nothing but ash, then there's nothing for either side to win. And this is probably the only sensible course of action. The reality is that if a player like Nephisto is in your kingdom, they can do literally whatever they want, and there's really almost nothing in the world that you can do about it. They're so high power, especially in a KVK1 situation, it's just extremely difficult to deal with. Even in a kingdom like 254, there are players that can run around at about 54 million power, they never have more troops than their hospital can hold, and they can endlessly grief farming marches, and there are many kingdoms that have players like this, and I really wish there was a solution in game to deal with those sorts of shenanigans, but there simply isn't. Those players can endlessly pop resource tokens as needed, run around with some march that's really good at hunting gatherers, and terrorize an entire zone. You can take an endgame zone and shut that damn thing down with one troll doing trolly stuff. And if you think that a troll at 54 million power is bad, how about a troll at over 550 million power? you have a situation that simply cannot be remedied by normal gameplay. So the only logical thing for the players of 2831, this rising kingdom, to do is to try to yield to the demands of the tyrant, do as they say, and then leave. So at least they can get a KVK1 experience that isn't further wrecked. So I'll continue with this kingdom mail. The time to argue over who is right and wrong has ended. Too many cities have been zeroed, and too many people either have or will quit the game as a result of this experience. It really sucks when there's a player with that kind of power and that kind of conduct and behavior running around in your kingdom. The Woe Shell will be handed over to the Kingdom Council, which will have Nephisto as a member. The handover will happen at the end of the KVK. The decisions regarding what to do with the Woe Shell will be left to the kingdom. We encourage all existing top alliances to cooperate amongst yourselves and with the Nephisto to create a strong and collaborative council. Council is a hilarious name for what is really a dictatorship. Regardless of what has happened, it is our duty to ensure that we leave this kingdom in as strong as a position as possible. From now until the end of KVK, we will make decisions only for how we best accommodate the WoW players and leave the kingdom matters to the new Kingdom Council. And in line with this decision, we will leave the Lost Temple uncontested when it next resets. We ask all members of the kingdom, whether they belong to any of the alliances, to be allowed to return to good graces of the kingdom's leadership. Everyone's tempers ran hot these past 2 days, and we believe everyone should be given a second chance. We wish you the best and hope that this kingdom can come back to be stronger and wiser, and the only wise thing to do in a kingdom with a player like Nephisto is to get the fuck out of there. Make this first KVK work, get as many rewards as you can, and then leave. Because this game is all about community, and it's all actually about the culture of those communities. Find a group that's got a culture you like, and what's unfortunate is that actually the culture of this kingdom was probably already very exceptional as put forth by the existing leadership of the kingdom. Now, I can't actually authoritatively speak to the way that the kingdom was run because I wasn't there. And although the officers of the kingdom have put me into their officer chat and I can see everything, I will not abuse the privileges they've given me for the purpose of coordination and ease of coordination to review the entirety of the way that they've run the kingdom throughout its history. I will simply say that the decision to leave this kingdom is a smart one, because there's simply no way to deal with this sort of player, and trust me, I have experience with many players like this. You may recall, the first civil war that I had was with a player who said, "You join us or we're zeroing you," and he gave me like 3 days. Like, join or die is kind of a weird message to send. And that sort of behavior, maybe you can sort it out, maybe you can make it work, but the reality is, if we look at another personality like King Talib, it never works out. Those sorts of players have their own agendas, and they will seek to fulfill that agenda to their heart's content with no consideration for other people unless it actually serves them to be considerate. And although on the one hand, I think we all would have really liked to see this kingdom try to rally together and zero Nephisto, I think we all also appreciate the reality that it probably would not have been very productive and could only have made the situation worse. This is especially true if there are, in fact, multiple people that have access to the account and can, in a 24/7 basis, basically log in and do whatever needs to be done to keep the account safe, pop a peace shield, or whatever. Although finding the real Nephisto has been an incredibly complex task, it's honestly been really fun. So thank you again for your support. I appreciate you. Covering drama is actually really stressful on YouTube because I want to make sure that my take is like not bad, but at the same time, I want to move quickly and cover the drama as it's unfolding as fast as I can. Because although I thought I was actually done with this video, there is one more thing I need to show you. In case you needed additional testament to Nephisto's personality, or you're just looking for something else to watch, the Nephisto was having a conversation with Shinji and said to him, "I'm not really a fan of your work. We'll work with more professional YouTubers. You can post and broadcast that story you want." Who says that to another human? He's going out of his way to be a jackass to Shinji. "I'm not really a fan of your work." I mean, you didn't have to say that. I guess that's very straightforward of you, but like, that's not something you say to somebody else. "We'll work with more professional YouTubers," to imply that he's not professional. "You can post and broadcast the story as you want." Well, hey, here we are, posting and broadcasting the story we want. And I think the story's pretty clear. You write the story for us. We're just telling it as we see it. And so if you want to see any of the videos I've referenced about Baba, the playlist I've put together, which will include all of the videos I've made about this. You want to see Shinchi's video, you want to see Drago's video where he was streaming some of this, you want to see Fleisch's video. I'll have all that down below in the description, so you've got an easy access point. Although I intend this to be the ending of my coverage of the Nephisto, somehow I think that there will be more for us to talk about.